Hello, and welcome back to Project Rejectus. In today's episode, we will discuss one of the biggest changes in Glacule's history. With all the time that's passed, the world has changed drastically. The continents have been moving in the background. Sepses and Crescentia have been on a collision course, and in its finally ended, the collision has created the new megacontinent of Turna. This new megacontinent now introduces Sepses and Crescentias, animals together for the first time ever. Now with situations like this is called a biotic interchange, where two different ecosystems meet each other for the first time. This happened on Earth with North and South America connecting for the first time here. The animals in North America had traveled and caused South America's animals to go extinct, replacing them in their niches. In Glacule's biotic interchange, Sepses will cause Crescentia's animals to go extinct due to Sepses' colder environment and their more advantageous body plan. The mentat was one of the animals from Sepses that soon dominated Turnham's ecosystems, becoming much bigger. The blava acted as large herd animals. These large grazers used their colorful arms as displays to attract mates, often wrestling with each other for mates or leadership over the herd. With their much stronger shell and strength, these animals gave Crescentia's predators no chance to hunt them and started replacing the native herbivores along with them. While predators like the Quatsinis couldn't hunt the blava, another animal would be able to do, so the tester had hunted the blava's ancestors, and in response to the blava their descendants grew much bigger in order to hunt them. The origin were pack hunters whose hunting strategy depended entirely on their bite force, stronger than any in the world. Think being this world's version of a small Tyrannosaurus. Their small arms had orange patches of fur to help them communicate with their pack mates. The Kerbera was another animal that found success in Turnham. With the wide array of Verima and other small animals, they quickly became predators. Going in a new direction, the Tesnia had advanced their natural glue similar to Earth's spider. They made complex webs that effectively caught small prey over large distances. With all of these new arrival, animals like the Dueris were forced to adapt new survival strategies. One of their descendants took advantage of all these new plants and land. The Jinla became the biggest animal to ever live on Glacule, with their max sizes rivaling that of a titanosaur. They had no predators once fully grown. If they lived that long, their other descendant, the Vexta, went a different direction. Avoiding competition completely with these new herbivores, they ventured into the ever-growing desert, becoming smaller and developing flag-like tails to help with the heat. Similar to the Dueris, the Perpisterna was struggling against these new arrivals, and while they unfortunately would go extinct due to this competition, they weren't completely lost to time. The Deciaturna had wandered into the desert, taking advantage of the many herbivores there. These solitary predators used their soft shells to help disperse heat as they traveled miles for even a chance at a meal. The Misdentis shared a very similar fate, being outcompeted, but where the Perpisterna went to the deserts, the Misdentis went underground. The Moros evolved large claws for digging. They ate specifically any Verima or plants found underground, using their sense of smell to detect their food. Their eyes had almost completely disappeared. The Hairmen had to adapt quickly as well. With all the new herbivores, more and more of them were getting eaten. While they couldn't do anything in retaliation, one of their descendants was forced to make a truly dangerous defense. The Cladylus had become much taller with a strong bark-like structure that grew large spikes across their body, but that wasn't the defense. It was happened when touched. Oh, how far they could fly. If any animal tried touching these plants, the spikes would quickly shoot if hitting anything near them, making any animal stay clear of these plants. Only small flying animals could even reach the leaves on top. While most animals from Crescentia would struggle with this new environment, one of the animals from Virus would find unexpected success in this new world. With the Virus Islands being ever so close to Turnham, the Kuga could now fly over to the megacontinent, filling in many new niches. One of these descendants was the Senator's small herbivore that specialized in eating seeds and other hard plants. They foraged the forest floor for any food, but these strong beaks proved useful for breaking something other than seeds. The Scrumus had repurposed their beaks, becoming small predators. They hunted flying prey, such as the fumum. They couldn't hunt anything much bigger as that niche was already taken, but they excelled in he one they took. This wasn't the case for all scrumus, however, as a descendant of theirs known as the Noxterem had become nocturnal, and while their daytime counterparts had to settle, there were barely any predators in the night, allowing them to hunt to their heart's content for whatever they found. This wouldn't be the only changes, however, as the world wasn't quite done moving yet. Turnum would soon be spilt, creating the new island continent of Vetus, while this large island would preserve the animals from the past we just saw, and from previous episodes Turnum would kill off most of them, as you can at the top. The desert has almost completely overtaken the continent. The heat has become unbearable for the trees here, as the fruberous and brino would unfortunately die out because of this. This much hotter climate wouldn't just affect the trees, as many animals felt its effects. The once dominant animals from Sepses were now dropping like flies, as they could now only exist on Vetus. The Paven was one of the only survivors from Sepses with their adaptability. They could handle the heat, but they however need a new way to survive. Their descendant the Ventum had adapted to the desert, developing venom to take down prey. These social predators would bite them, follow their prey until the venom took them down. These animals also had black and white stripes to act as a warning to any potential enemies near them. The Bractro had also survived while the temperature was much hotter. This also meant there was a lot more plains and grasslands for these primitive animals to hunt in. But while they survived, they still needed to change to keep it that way. Their descendants, the Torsum, had gone into one thing, and one thing only: speed. Becoming Glacule's version of a cheetah, they were the fastest land animals out, speeding their prey. But they weren't exactly like cheetahs you see. To combat the heat, the Torsum could sweat, which was also amazing for their stamina regeneration, and while not exactly a pack, these animals would usually hunt with their siblings or parents while hunting. Now, that's all for Turnum and Vetus, but there's one more continent we haven't discussed: Glanum. While Crescentia and Sepses got closer and closer, Glanum became even more isolated, eventually turning into Salumia. There was however one area that got closer to Salumia: Tertus, and while usually the mainland's animals would overrun the islands, wildlife in this case it's the opposite, as Tertus has much more advanced social creatures to work with. Predators such as the Walrus would quickly get outcompeted, getting replaced by animals like the Vertebrem. With their success on Salumia, these predators quickly diversified, replacing many of the old predators. Their descendants like the Ziltis would act as the dominant predators, with packs similar to wolves. They would single out their prey from their herds, circling them before quickly biting into them. They wouldn't stop there, however, as their descendants the Denstum would develop a huge underbite to take down their prey in one shot, similar to a saber-toothed tiger. While their smaller ancestors were much more successful, these predators could bully any other animal of their kill with their strength, allowing them to maintain large territories and hunting grounds. Where there are great predators, there is even greater prey. As the Denstum spread throughout Salumia, animals like the Miscus were put in a very uncomfortable position, as the predators could now overtake them even with their quills. This new arms race would crest their descendants the Mesos. These giant grazers had turned their mouths into long trunks, similar to an elephant, that they used to dig through the snow for food and to reach for the leaves above. Led by a single matriarch, only the young were at risk of predators as a fully grown Mesos was practically unstoppable. Tertus wouldn't be the only place new animals arrived from. A group of Acari with thicker fur coats would soon settle in Salumia, taking advantage over the lack of flying animals here. Their descendants the Lumberer soared through the skies, picking off any animal from the size of a mouse to a deer. While they had all the tools to kill and hunt, they actually acted more similar to a vulture, eating any rotting corpse they found. While scavenging always worked, some lumberers found a new way to survive. Similar to a flamingo, the Camas took advantage of the abundant krill near Salumia's coasts. Instead of traveling long distances to find food, they could just put their mouths in any water source and eat. Their teeth had become small bristles to help catch these small animals, letting them into a new niche with little competition. And if any predators came, well, they could still fly away. The Ferrandi was another new arrival to Salumia. While they are burrowing animals, they found plenty of success in the vast trees, developing a bright red pattern. The Opulas spent their days hunting small animals like Verima in the trees, but their real weapon was their eyes. They had become very chameleon-like. Being able to rotate independently gave them the best eyesight of any animal on Glaciae. The Doma probably had the most success in Salumia compared to any other animal. They quickly spread far and wide, building their dams. And while we won't be showing any of their descendants today, we will show the creatures that they directly affected. The humble Rejectus have spent all these episodes peacefully eating away at the trees they love. While before they had no competition, the Doma are cutting down their homes at alarming rates. Where most animals went extinct due to the new arrivals, the Rejectus thrived. While one Rejectus couldn't do much, a whole group of them could do great things, being forced to evolve social behaviors. Their descendants, the Ligsaurs, became the second eusocial animal on Glaciae. Their hives started with a bug queen that after mating would eat its way into a tree, making one big room for her and the eggs she laid. The first eggs that hatched would become either worker or drone Ligsaurs. These nearly blind animals spent their days digging out more room in the tree to store more food and eggs, making vast travel routes for the hive. After the workers would dig out enough room along with enough materials, solider Ligsaurs would soon be born with hardened armor plates made from their fur. Groups of them would travel for resources constantly, usually seen moving in single file lines. The Soilders also acted as their give's main defense against any predators. The Ligsaurs weren't the only thing affected by the Doma, obviously, so were trees. Lily the Artorta. While both Doma and Ligsaurs hurt these trees, their descendants found a way to survive both of them. The Arsis made an unlikely friendship with the Ligsaurs. They would allow them to live and make their hives in them, and in exchange the Ligsaurs would protect the Arsis. And to sweeten the deal, whenever Ligsaurs made their hives in the Arsis, these trees will start producing a sap-like substance rich in nutrients baby Ligsaurs could thrive on. Thank you for watching until the end. This is one of my biggest episodes in a while. I'm very happy I've been able to get to this point in Rejectus, and I truly hope you've enjoyed the weird animals I've been making. But goodbye for now. I'll see you all next time when we go over every animal that has gone extinct after this episode.